there's so many things that go wonky when you put your body through that. Part of it's the physical act of actually running 100 miles. And the other piece to that, I think, is just the lack of sleep. Most people don't sleep great the night before a race. The races themselves sometimes start at 5 in the morning. So like, even if you do sleep well, you're probably not going to get more than a few hours just from you got to be waking up at around 3 a.m. in a lot of cases then. And then, most people are going to run through the night in a 100-mile race. So they're going to lose a night of sleep on the event day itself. Even if you are finishing before dark or before your typical bedtime, there's just so many like weird hormonal like things that are going on after running 100 miles, dehydration, energy deficit, all sorts of stuff that just make it really hard to fall asleep that next night. So you end up having this scenario of you put your body through 100 miles of running, then you put yourself through relative sleep deprivation, cortisol's through the roof, all sorts of stuff is just whacked out. And a lot of that leads to like fluid retention. You go from a dehydrated state to a hyperhydrated state oftentimes. And, like I said earlier, sometimes you're introducing a bunch of foods you normally don't eat because you're like, it's done. Here's my opportunity. Let's go eat 2 large pizzas, something like that. Or like, well, how many drive-throughs can we head through before the next morning? And that sort of mentality. And then you just end up with like a ton of water retention. And usually a few days later, that kind of flushes through. But that's always been my, one of my biggest motivators to kind of get right back on more of a strict ketogenic diet as soon as I finish a race, because I notice I get a lot less of that leg swelling, a lot less of that feeling like my body is retaining a ton of extra water, and it just tends to be a little more of a smooth transition for me. And then when I do start training again structure, I can kind of like move off of a more strict ketogenic diet onto a more low carbohydrate diet and kind of get back to the formula that I've used for the better part of the last 10 years.